Hello friends, I am Manoj Mittal. So in this demonstrations, I'm going to talk about how to build enterprise chat GPT. So in the context of the enterprise applications, the question we hear most often is how do I build something like chat GPT that use my own data as a basis of its response, right? So with what I'm going to use here, I draw the couple of the component icons here which is going to use in entire demonstrations with an end-to-end solution. First is Microsoft Teams, which is my interface as a UI to the end user, organizational users. They can type the question, get back the response. It's going to talk with a semantic kernel. Semantic kernel is going to play as the role of orchestration layer or an orchestrator framework is going to use. Basically, semantic kernel does a heavy lifting of translating the model response into your own code. We can build the plugins. We can use out of the box plugin that can be integrate with the semantic kernel. So we see later in our demonstrations how to build those things, right? After that, we are going back to the Azure AI search. Azure AI search is basically is going to get the data, crawl the data, index, and create the indexes. And based on the queries, we are going to retrieve and rank the relevant metadata from the documents which exist into the Azure AI search. So Azure AI search, if you see, it's not only limited to this, it has lots more capability. We can use the semantic search, we can enable it, we can define the skills, right? What contents is going to extract from the different source of content, different type of the documents we have, right? We can do the vectorizations. If my document is quite big, we can divide into the chunk, and that will help again to get the more relevant context of the data. So we'll see in the different section all those features and different attributes of this Azure AI search. So here I'm going to talk about the blob storage where certain of the data files is exist and we are going to crawl it. So once the data is going to come and we are going to take it up as a Azure OpenAI, which use the Q&A experience with the prompt engineering. Prompt played a very crucial role in communicating and directing the behavior of the large language models. They serve as an input or queries that users can provide to a specific response from a models, right? And it send it back to the orchestrator layer, which is send it back to the teams. So this is the whole overall the architecture which we are going to use to build enterprise chat GPT. So let's deep dive into the portal first, create a component, and then we will move to the code base. Okay, now let's log into the portal.azure.com and create your own resource group. So it will be quite helpful to manage all the resources what you are creating, right? And then to manage and view the cost also, what's going on. So here in this particular resource group, let's create the furthermore component. So I select Azure AI services, Azure AI search, and I click on create. So just give the name, chat GPT, Azure AI search. Locations, I'll select what my resource group locations it is to make all component in the same location. So I'm fine with the tire. So if you need to choose, you can choose any other services. So I'll select the basic at this moment. Click on review and create. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. Yes, it's created. Now let's create another the AI services. I'll go to the create again. Type here Azure Open AI. Select it. We'll search it. Yep, it's there. Select create. So here also the resource group is same. I'll select the locations of my resource group. That is South US. Name Chat GPT Azure Open AI. Tires, I'll select which is available. I click on next. I'm okay with any network for this demo. Click on create. So in the meantime, once it's get created, right, I'll go back to my resource group and see what are the components has already created. So let it refresh. Okay, it's taking time to come. Okay, now we have received the component which we have created. So the chat GPT, Azure OpenAI, and the Azure AI search. So now let's click to the Azure AI search, and we'll see what are the components, what extra steps we need to do. Right, as you can see on the screen, first we need to connect your data. Right, as we see under the search management, we have a data source. So we need to create a data source. As part of demo, let's create the Azure storage account and create some files into that sections. Right, so let me go to the my resource group again and come back here, type Azure storage account. Right, so let's create Azure storage account. Select the same. I'll give some unique name. Yep, standard is okay. I use local redundant storage. Review and create. Okay, now it's going to create the blob storage for us. So let's create, and the once it's created, we will create a container, and what file or what content we are going to store it. Right, if you browse this particular URL, the sample data. So here Microsoft has given a lot of sample data. You can use any of the sample data to for your demonstration, to crawl the content, to index the content. So for this demo, I'm going to use this hotel data. Right, so once I select hotel, so there are certain JSON files is exist, right, 5 JSON file, and this file is having all the hotels, hotel name, descriptions, their ratings, cities, and other rooms detail. So I'm going to download all this data and just take it as a part of my blob storage. Right, so one by one, I'm going to click all the 5 files what we have and just store it. So, okay, so this has created. I'll go to my storage account. So here we have a containers. Let's create the container. We'll just say chat GPT portal data. Click create. I'll open it. Click on upload. Browse the files. Right. So here I am what the data I have downloaded. I'll select all the files and click upload. So all the files which I have selected, it has been uploaded here itself. Right, so my container is ready. I'll go back to my resources, resource group, and open the Azure AI search. Now go back to the data source, add data source. So just give the name, chat GPT AI search DS. There's a data source. I'll use existing connection for my storage account. So I have lots here. So what we have created, I'll select this one. So this one which we have created. So for the time being, I'll just use as manage identity no, but we can use system assigned or the user assigns if it's required. Click on save. We'll go back and we'll refresh it. Yeah, so the data source is appeared here, which is connected with the blob storage. Right now, it's a part of the indexes and the indexer. So let's add the indexes. So there are two sections, right? For the add indexes, basically what contents we are going to crawl, we need to define the fields a name here, which will help to search, right? We have, if I go back to this particular data, so we have a lot of fields: hotel ID, hotel name, descriptions, categories, tags. So we can create all those fields and we can define all those fields as say with their properties. It's a retrievable, what type of data it is, filterable, sortable, facet, searchable, all these, right? One by one, we can create all those properties. Or another way to create, if we have, if we can have already those schema in place, right? We can use the JSON file and it can be uploaded here. So for these sections, right, as this is a hotel data and already available in the as a sample data, so there is a the JSON structure is exist into the Azure search, Azure AI search. So I will take it up that particular sections and I'll take it up what are the required content I need for my demonstration. I'll just copy it. So let's take this sections and it's a fields basically, right? So I will just go and select paste as is here. So for this demo, I don't need a location at this moment. I'll remove it. Tags I don't need. I'll just use bare minimum so we can use it. Okay, so there is a one hotel ID. We have H capital hotels. We are going to take descriptions, hotel names, categories, rating. So that's fine. So rest of the properties you can check it out, right? So as it's a last, we don't need this comma. This should be okay. Let's click on save and it will start appearing all the fields what we have created under this, right? Now let's go to the, let's open it and see under the fields. Yep, what are the fields we have provided? And with these attributes, it start appearing here, correct? So now let's move to the indexer. Click on add indexer. So here that's fine, the default name, select the index, what we have created as a hotel, data source, what we have created, skill set. So as of now, we are not creating any of the skill set we use out of the box, what is exist. And we'll just review other properties, the schedule time, if we are keep adding the data and the backend storage. So we can define the scheduler here, right? What type of data we have parsing data, we are going to provide the JSON file. So it's very important property as a parsing mode, need to select here. Click on see, the indexer has created. So let's open it and see. Yeah, we have ran it. It successfully ran. So let's go back and go to the indexes. Yeah, here the 5 document has which we have uploaded. It's created. The indexer has created, and let's start to search that content and see how the results is appearing. Right. So we are looking for a lake view good hotel. Just I'm going to type it. Let's click on search. Yep, that's pretty good. We are getting the results here. So now the next step, let's take these results and use the Azure OpenAI models and using the prompt engineering, format the structure, send it back to the teams, right? That's the whole structures is pending. For that, let's move to the resource group again. And here we have Azure OpenAI. Let's create a model, the default model which exists, GPT 3.5. I'll go to the Azure OpenAI service under the resource management, click on the manage deployments, selected manage deployment. The screen has appeared. Create a new deployment, select a model. We'll use GPT 3.5 Turbo. Model version is fine. Just give the name. Chat GPT OpenAI is your OpenAI model. And advanced settings, I'm fine with the default configuration here. Click create. So, yep, we are ready with a deployment model. So now let's create an orchestrator layer to combine both the service, and we'll see how the results is appear. For that, let's log into the Visual Studio. So, and for that, I'm going to create a Azure function, right? So that will help to take the response, whatever the UI, whether I'm using the Teams or I'm using any of the web app, right? Or any of the third-party systems, just need a response. And basically Azure Functions is going to play at the role of orchestrator, which will take care of the responses coming, formatting the data. Before that, it's going to the Azure AI search, get the data back using the prompt, send it back to the Azure OpenAI using this model, format the data, send it back. So this function is a whole and soul which will be responsible to get the input and prepare the response which is ready to send it back, right? Let's create a Azure Functions. So with respect to Azure Functions, I just use the name default, that is fine. Just use any of the repository where you want to store it. Click next. Use whatever is coming up here. The function worker .NET 8.0 should be fine. Function type is a trigger, should be okay, right? Click create. So it will create the Azure functions for you. Project has created, so I rename it with a custom Copilot, and this is the out of the box the project which has created for the Azure function. So let's create here the other structures and see how it's work. First of all, with respect to dependencies, let's go and add the manage NuGet package for the semantic kernel package. Let's add it here. So it's appearing. Select it. So let's select semantic kernel core, install, and we need semantic kernel 2. Let's select semantic kernel. Let's also install it. Accept. Okay. So this package we can get to know. Yep, we have both the packages installed. So now let's create some of the folder structures to create what we are going to do, right? As we have the Azure AI search, and we are going to create, when we are going to get the data in JSON structure, so we need to create some of the classes of the classes which will get the response and format the data of JSON structure, right? So let's create some folder structures here. So I will use as a model. Let's create more folders. As we are going to write orchestrator. So define here orchestrator. We are going to use and create a plugin. Let's create a folder for a plugin. Add plugin. We can add the whatever the plugin is required for us. So now with respect to the Azure function, so first let's start from here and what we need. So with respect to the Azure OpenAI, so it's going to get the first of all, right, we need to call the Azure AI search. And with respect to that, we need to get the data what the response or as a out or as a input is going to come, whoever is calling this particular function, right? So let's define for that. So let's remove whatever section is here that we don't need. I will just write what is required as I have a snippet ready. So this basically will take whatever the data is going to come. We are going to pass as a input query and get the questions into that sections. So it's a chat response orchestrator service. So this is like it's a object is going to create, right? So let's going to create an object for that. So I'm going to create a class as an orchestrator services. So let's create a class under orchestrator, add new item, give the name here as a orchestrator services. Right. So in that class, what we are going to do, we are going to handle the request which is coming, and we need the semantic kernel object. Right. First of all, let's define the constructor for this class. And just for demo purpose, make it public. Later you can define as per accessibility for this section. Now I have defined the orchestrator service and use the kernel object here and using the functions, right, which is going to handle the request. It will be responsible for that. So basically I'm using the handle request. It will take the request and passes to the custom plugin. Now we have a chat response model, right? So what this chat response model is going to do, basically we have all the what the response we are going to send it back, right? We are going to send back the questions and answers or the all the results which is coming from the Azure AI search. So for that, we are going to create the chat response model. So let's create a chat response model. We have the model structures, add new class, just define it here, right? So in that particular class, let's add some of the properties and just make it public. Yep, some of the classes has created. Now it's a search result model. Again, this is search model result. What it will do, whatever the properties is going to come that depend on us, what type of content we need to, when we are receiving the content and we are going to map it with what properties, right? So let's go there under the model sections. Again, create one more class, search model, right? And add some of the attributes for this too, right? So here I'm good. Now it's a hotel model. So let's create one more model, which is going to map the data with a JSON structure and add whatever the the attributes we have defined into the Azure AI search while doing indexing with their data type. So it will help us to map it, those sections, right? Let's add their, okay. So this sections, it's a searchable fields. Okay, we need to add the NuGet package. Let's go there. Is your search. Azure search document indexes. Let's install it. Let's add the reference here. Yep, it's get resolved. So now we have, if we see in the folder structure, what we under the model, we have a chat response model. What format the response is going back. We have a hotel models. Whatever the properties we have defined in the indexes, we can define as per our requirement what we need back, right? And we have a search results when we are getting the results back in what format it's going to come up. So all those three is available. Now let's move to the orchestrator. And here in orchestrator, so let's see what we are doing. We have created the constructor for a, uh, and we are calling the function as a handle request. Okay, let's add this response chat model. And for this, the custom plugins, right? And the custom plugins, so let's create, let's go back. And we have here the plugin. Let's create a first of all folder, and it will help and hold all our the prompt engineering models what we are going to create, right? Add one more folders. So let's type here custom plugin, right? Under that, let's create one more file. So we have new file and just type it custom plugin. .cs. So that file is get created. And here under that, we are going to create one more folder structure. Right, so that will hold whatever the response is coming. We need to format that particular response also, right? So that can be done for the questions point of view also, but that depends on the project need and how fine-tuned you want to do it. I created a folders, and once we create an answer folder, basically it needs the two files. One is the config.json. Let's create those two files also. Config.json, and it need one more file which is for the prompt, and that's a defined structure for these both the files, and the naming conventions also should be like sk prompt.txt. So these files has created as of now. So let's go to the first custom plugin and create here. Right, let's change this one for a public. And here what we are going to use, let's create an object for the kernel. Okay, so before that, so what we have now, let's go through the folder structure again. Again, we are defining the orchestrator service, right? This orchestrator service is going to talk with a custom plugin, and custom plugin, what it is having, what the prompt engineering, what we are going to do, it's take the response and send it back to the prompt engineering and get the response back. But before that, what we need the data from the Azure AI search. So that layer also, we need to write it. So with respect to that, let's create one more class here and get the data from the Azure AI search. So I'll go to the orchestrator folder, click on the new, create here is cognitive search. I just gave the name, just leave it. So this particular class, which I'm going to create, it's is going to responsible to get the data from the Azure AI search. Right, let's create the constructor which will initialize the objects which we are going to use. So let's make a constructor, and what this constructor is having service endpoint, which you can see chat GPT Azure AI search.service.windows.net, and the index name as a hotel and credential, and from where I took all these things. So if we will see in the code base itself, so let me go back and here let's open the Azure AI search. Here you can see the endpoint where we have ChatGPT Azure AI search, right? So this is exact mapping here. And let's move to the other sections for the key. So you can click on key. You can just copy the key and paste it here. And the index name, basically you can go to the indexes. You can select what the name you have given, the same name you need to present it here. So that's the section for this one, right? Now it's a search options. Here you can define what type of the query type you are going to use. You can use here the semantic search also. Once you have configured, you can use it and it gives all the options basically, right? The full semantic and simple. I'm going to use at for this demo as a full. We can define, once we configure the semantic, we can define here the semantic and add additional parameters, right? Query size, I have defined what type of query, how many results is going to get back. It's a 5 like results is going to back, and getting all the properties which is defined into the indexes, right? So till here we are okay to get all the data back. Now let's go back, see the folder structures. We are ready with the model. We are ready with the orchestrator. Let's go to the plugin section. So which will play the quite important role for us, right? For the cognitive search itself. So till now we have defined, let's call the services also and get the results back and fill it, right? Let's go back here. Cognitive search. So we have constructor, it's defined. So here is the model I have defined, get search results, what the queries we are going to type it, right? We have initiated the object. With that, we are calling the search async functions and getting the result back, converted into the hotel model, what we have defined, and get the results back and fill it into the one of the list. So here we are good to get the result back from the Azure AI search. Let's save it and go back to the custom plugin. Now into the custom plugin, again, we need to create an object of the kernel and the cognitive search. Let's add that particular snippet here. And once it's done, now here is the important sections. What are the functions we are going to define, right? That's need annotations with a word of the kernel. So let's add it. Now it's the function name that's depend on you, what you want to use. I use the name as a handle request, and it should have the annotations with the name of the kernel functions, right? And the description sections. Let's add here the reference, what it need. Okay. Get search results, add the references. Microsoft semantic kernels we have, custom model, orchestrator, that is fine. Custom models, what else is missing here? Okay, let's go down. Oh my God, okay. So I think I have pasted the snippet wrongly. It should be within class, not outside the class, as it's a function, right? Yep, so it's came here. Now we are going to get these sections, get search results, okay. extract the data. If I like we are not getting any results, we can simply send the message, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that. If we get an answer, so let's generate the results, right? So let's add another snippet of the code base here. Yep, let's see one by one this particular section. So here is the search results. So what we are going to call, which whatever we have defined the cognitive search as a class, we are calling the function of that class and passing the query, getting the result back. Right, so here that's depend on us what the result is coming, how we need to format the result and send it back. So here I'm going to get all the data. So for example, here we use the scores and the document. We can define here in more defined way if our score is coming which is quite low, right? We and then we don't want to showcase that data, we can filter itself those data here itself. So as of now, I'm just taking all the content and putting into the one of the list and ready to send it back, right? And now if I go back to the functions, what we have written here, we got the search results. Now we are extracting. So what this function is going to do, if I go back, so we are extracting and mapping what the data is coming into the model structures what we have, right? You can see the hotel IDs, hotel names, and hotel description. So as of now, these three properties I have used as well as the document rating. So these four properties I have used for this answers. Right now, once if I come back again to this section, the get search results. So we have done extractions of the search results. Now, finally, once we get the results, we are going to come back here, generate AI answer. So this is the quite prominent part what we have. So what it does, so here we are going to create an object, right, for the semantic kernel and invoke. And what is going to invoke as the custom plugin, and custom plugin is what? It's this particular folder structure, and it has this sections, the AI answer. And it's understand it has a defined files as a configurations and the key prompt, which is going to use these two sections here. It's going to provide search results QA and the questions, right? So once we execute and format the content based on that, it send back the answers to us. So let's see in the configurations, in the particular configuration section, right, we can define certain parameters. So for example, so these parameters, it comes, right, once we are doing the chat GPT, so it has their own parameters. What's the token size, the temperatures? We can play around with those parameters also to make it more fine tuned how the content is going to come up, right? And the parameters what we used here, the search results QA and the questions, you can define any of the parameter. It should match with your the custom plugins code, which is orchestrator layer, what we have defined, and what is going to get in that particular variable the search results and the question sections, right? So that can be more prominent as you are going to use. So what sections you need to send to the prompt for the prompt engineering point of view. So this is the one sections. Now coming to the prompt. So prompt is basically is a way of writing the English, right? So it help us to understand what type of response we are going to back. For example, I have written this sections, right? You are an assistant that help the end user to find out the best hotel based on their queries referred here. And at the end, you need to create an answer that contain hotel name based on the rating and show the top three hotels into the tabular format. And here is the search results, which is going to come. Here is the questions and give me the answers back to formula to format this content based on these sections. So let's save it. So let's see here. Okay, I'll come back before the functions. Let's see the custom plugin. Custom plugin section is ready. So basically we have done with the orchestrator layer. Now let's come back to this sections and see what is left over. Right. So here we are going to use the Azure OpenAI services. So let's add a couple of variables here to. So, okay, so this is just a demo. I'm not following any specific best practices, so that you can use. So that's pretty much is available. Like you can make all the variables like that. Functions name instead of creating the object dependency injections can be used. So just for the demo, I'm just skipping all those sections, right? So my endpoints for the ChatGPT deployment model name API key. And now the question comes from where we can get all these things back, right? So let me go back to the Azure portal, and this is the Azure portal here, and I click on the Azure OpenAI services, and we'll find the details here itself. So once I go back here, you can see all the endpoints. So here is the key, what you can get, this key one section, and here is the endpoint, which you can get. And the deployment model. Deployment model is nothing like a model deployment name, what you have created here, right? So what are the model names you are going to create? For example, you can find which we have created ChatGPT, or that's here, the model's name. Okay, model name, we will find it here, which we have created. So this is the model name, right? The Chat GPT, the Azure OpenAI model. So we are using the GPT 35 Turbo. So this is the particular model name we need to provide it here, right? So till here, this is okay. So now before going ahead in this function itself, right? What is missing now? Now the kernel which we are passing. So we need to create an object for that. Let's create a section here itself. Right, basically what I have done, I'll just created a create builder objects, and it's use the Azure OpenAI chat completions, and it take all these parameters which we have defined and add from the prompt directory, right? If you will just hover it, it will give us the structures also what we need. So it's a defined structures skprompt.txt and the config.json. So we have good. And these files, when it's stored at your systems, you can keep the relative path. But here I have given just the dummy, like my local machine path itself, just for the demo and the debugging purpose, as I'm not going to deploy and but use the debugging purpose to see how this functions works. Right. So now what we get here, the kernel objects, we use the builder.build. It passes to the town is ready, and we are able to build successfully. So let's put a debugger and call this endpoint via the postman, and let's see how the results is going to appear. I hit the run, or you can type the control F5. The code will start running locally. So let it run. Let's invoke the endpoint here. Yep, we have 7429. I invoke the postman. This is 7249, and our the function name, endpoint name. We have passed the query as a whatever you want to pass it as per the data structure. So it's a data, the good restaurant, the new pool view hotel, something, right? So once I hit it, so it start calling it. Let's do the F10 and go in the detail what's going to happen here. So it's going to create an object. It's get the response. So the response, you can see what we have typed, it's coming up here. Now we are going down. Let's move to the orchestrator layer, right? Once we come to the orchestrator layer, it's going to call our the custom plugin handle request. Let's go inside that section. And this is the main things. It's going to call our the search. Now we are going back into the get search results. Let's go back into the get search results. So we are here to get the search results. Like if you can see, we got the 5 search results back here. and it has all the data what we have defined. So that comes into that manner itself. So let's go back. Instead of filling, let's put the debugger, get back all the results here. I did F5, again F10 here. So we get the search results, right? And let's move it. We extracted the search results, whatever property is required. So it just starts showing to us. So this is the results is coming, right? There's the first results. It's coming, second result, third results with all the data. The results it start appearing here. So now we are going down. So as we got the result, now it's a part of the Azure OpenAI. So it will see how the results can be formatted, right? So once I go back and go into the one level down, so here is basically the custom plugin, what we have defined. And let's see, let's run it. And what's the result is going to appear for that. Let's hit it, Control F5. Yep, you can see. So what we have mentioned right into the prompt. So there are the based on the search results, I would recommend the following top 3 hotels. So it has written back to us the top 3 hotels here itself. So that's the way, right? So it's not only getting the raw data from the Azure AI search, but once we got the data, we have passed it to the Azure OpenAI using the custom plugin, the prompt engineering, we have defined and formatted the data, and it's coming into the particular format structure back to us, right? So as a next step here, once it's done, we can pass this data to the to the teams. We can create a Azure bot services and pass it this data and see how it will come back and appear to the Teams bot also. So as I have downloaded the code from the GitHub and did the required changes and the changes what I have done. So it's a sample code which is downloaded and the main dialog, which is the main section for us, right? So as we have configured the Azure bot SSO and validated how the token is get generated. So here we are going to validate whether the token is going to come up. If token is not null, what we are going to take, okay, the user phrases, what the user has typed. Once the user has typed, here we are going to take the user phrases, and simply now the objective is we are going to display the as is data which is coming from the Azure OpenAI model, which is orchestrator layer we have built in that particular format to the teams. So let's see how this response is going to come up. So at the end, what we need to do, we need to call that end the endpoint, right? Orchestrator layer endpoint, and need to place it into the adaptive card here. And adaptive cards, we can place this data as is, and it will take care the format structure which is going to come up. So for that, what I have done, I have created the helper classes, and this is nothing. Basically, it's calling the endpoint. So here I'm passing the response, the user phrases basically. Now use the HTTP request helper and get the hero card. So if I go back into the hero card, so this is nothing. It's a HTTP call. It's we are passing whatever Azure functions, right? Instead of the deployed point, as we are going to debug. So during the debugging, what's the endpoint is get generated. So that endpoints we are going to call it calling here and get the result back. Once we get the results here, again going back and display the results back. So here we'll again go back to the main functions, right? We are going to get the data and just using the step context dot context dot send activity message factory dot text, right? What the data we are getting. So as is data we are taking and throwing back to the Teams bot. So this is the section. And to debug this particular bot, we need 2 more sections. One is the app settings. So it's just for demo purpose. Anyway, I'm going to remove all this credential later. So it's a app ID. This is nothing like a client ID, which we saw in the Azure bot configuration. And this is the password, like what we have captured as a value of the client secret, right? This is required. And the one more thing here, we need to create a manifest file, right? So uh, b- manifest file basically it's need the 2 basic items it should have, right? Let me open the manifest file which has created. So basically, yep, this is the manifest file which I have created. So here I have the ID. Basically, this ID is important. This is our Azure bot ID, and which is a client secret itself, right? Client ID, which is going to come up here. We can give there are the standards naming conventions need to provide those details. So you can go through the documentation and get those details. Valid domain, as we are going to debug this one, so it's better to provide ngrok.io, right? And the web application information point of view, you can bot ID and the resource ID, which is exposed as an API. So those endpoints need to define. So, and with respect to manifest, two more file is important, colors and the outline. So put it in the one folder and make it a zip, right? So once your file is ready, so what we can do, let's log into the Teams and go to the section here in the app sections, get more apps, right? I'll log into the teams.microsoft.com, click manage your apps. Here you can click upload and apps. So select upload and customize app, right? So once you click it here, select the zip file, which should consist your manifest, outline and color files, right? So as I selected those files, it will shows you are the AI bot name what you have given, and rest of the other details you will get. All this is coming from your manifest files. So let's click on the adding. So it will add your bot to the Teams sections itself, right? So as of now, the code which we are going to use, it's not going to return as it's not deployed, still exists locally, but our bot is start appearing here, right? So let's again, once we type and need to get the answer back, we need to debug the entire code, make it in running mode itself, right? To debug the bot, basically we should use ngrok. So you can download the ngrok locally, and then you can double click and open it. Let me open at my end too, and I can showcase how it's going to run it. Yeah, so I ran the ngrok here. So to debug, there is a standard command which we need to run it. We need to provide it here, right? ngrok http. This is your endpoint for the bot, and as hyphen hyphen host hyphen header rewrite. So as you click it, it will generate your forwarding the URLs, free app ngrok URLs. You need to take it up this URL. This is quite important. Go back to the Azure bot again, your bot configuration section, and here you need to provide it. So this will become your endpoint, right? Click on enable streaming, click apply. So now your bot is ready for the debugging purpose. Now what we have the bot code in place. Let's put the debugger and run it, and we'll see how this response is going to come. I hit Control F5 or click on run. This is the one section. Let it run. Then we will run the Copilot, which is the orchestrator layer, and we'll see how the end-to-end debugging is going to happen from the teams to the orchestrator layer. And in the orchestrators, we are going to call Azure Functions, and we are going to call the Azure OpenAI endpoints, custom prompts with custom plugins, what we have defined, right? So, okay. So this is the one section. Let's me open the code for the custom Copilot 2. Let's close this manifest file, which is not related to this. Let's run this section too. So as I run this Azure function, it will also invoke the endpoint. So I have a two debugging window in front of me, which is one is for the orchestrator layer. This is for the Teams bot, right? Now both is in debugging mode. Let it run. It has consumed lots of memory during the debugging. maybe a little bit slow. Yeah, we have again 7249. So we don't need Postman. So let me close the Postman to save some of the memory of my resources. Right. So let's go back to the team now. And what we need, we'll just need some good questions to type it and see how it's respond back. So as I coming here, good restaurant, new pool view hotel. So just something. Once I hit it, let's see. And let's see what the response is again, 200. Okay. Yep, it's hitting the debugger point. Let's directly go back and see here, right? Yeah, so our phrase is coming now. Let's go back and just F10 again. So let's hit F5. And now you can see our orchestrator layer code has automatically opened where we have kept the debugger, right? So it's a nice, like from the bot, we are going to debug the orchestrator layer code base. So I click on continue and let's see, let it process and see what it's going to come. As you can see the search results, it's returning the 5 results back. I click on continue again and let's see what the response is going to come back to us. And the top 3 results, which is the results is coming at returning all the 5 items also back to us. I click again, continue here, and you can see, wow, it's nicely presented all the results which is appearing, which we are expecting, right? So let's read out in what format the results is coming. We didn't write single line of code to format in this manner. Based on the given search result, top 3 hotels with the highest rating that have the good restaurant and pool view are, these are the 3 hotels which is listed down, and they have defined the summary of all the 3 hotels. This is a Scarlet Harbor Hotels, Sublime Cliff Hotels, and then again we have a Secret Point Hotels. All 3 hotels descriptions also it's appear. So this is the beauty, right, as your OpenAI. So which with the help of with the prompt engineering is defining and formatting the required results. And as much as we are going to use, prompt will start understanding and giving the result back. And with respect to fine tune, there are lots of parameter exist as the Azure AI search services level, as well as the OpenAI, Azure OpenAI and the prompt engineering level. So thank you very much for having me in this demonstrations. If you like this demo, kindly like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.